is since he's taken office?
My greatest accomplishment, was that the question?
Yeah,
Yes.
since you've taken
Since
office.
I've taken office, I think that there have been several things, and I can't identify anything in particular that's been my greatest accomplishment because every day I'm accomplishing something new. And that's because I do my homework, because I want to be the best representative I possibly can be. From drafting legislation, as I just mentioned, dealing with the Interstate Gun Trafficking Task Force, to also drafting legislation that addresses problems with foreclosures in the city of Chicago, and more specifically in the 32nd District. Those are just two examples, but I definitely appreciate the call. Thank you.
Well, one of your upcoming accomplishments is the district fair that you're having on Saturday.
Yes.
There we go, or it's blown up right on, oops, let's get the date, yeah.
Yes.
August 28th, because we were talking about this beforehand, and this ties into the accessibility, that you think this is probably one of the first time that all these different agencies are coming together to answer questions, and we'll be there. If you could tell us about that.
Yes, and this event is going to be absolutely fantastic. And I want to thank Governor Quinn and his staff for assisting me with this, because again, everyone knows that we are having some serious budgetary issues in the state of Illinois. So it's very difficult to get the state agencies out on a weekend to do this outreach. So I have been very, very aggressive, and Governor Quinn's office has been responsive. We have at least 15 different agencies, from the Department of Human Rights to the Department of Agriculture to the Department of Corrections, DCFS, DECO, Aging, you name it. So those scenarios in which people are frustrated by making those phone calls over and over again to state agencies, you don't have to worry about it. It's going to be a one-stop shop. They will all be there. Plus, we've got fun for the kids. The Department of Natural Resources is going to show the kids how to fish.
Oh.
The Department of Natural Resources is going to show the kids how to engage in archery. We're going to have a jumping jack. We're going to have food. It's going to be a great time, not only for the kids, but most importantly, the adults that need access and need information from all the state agencies who will be there.
Now, it's called 32nd District, but there won't be anybody there checking ID, right? So somebody
No.
who doesn't live in the 32nd District
Everyone is
could
invited.
learn to fish or
Absolutely,
or
absolutely.
play with you wouldn't want me with a bow and arrow. Trust me, you'd have to stay far out of the way. I notice you have some wonderful sponsors too. So
Yes.
I mean, because you pointed out, that we do have budgetary problems, and we wouldn't want people to think that you were just willy-nilly spending money.
No.
Because you've got sponsors here like Walgreens and Exelon and Pepsi, Holy Cross Hospital. Will the hospital have like a booth set up?
Well, Holy Cross Hospital is my hospital. That's the only hospital in the 32nd District. Holy Cross Hospital has been excellent. They are my partners. And Holy Cross Hospital will be providing the emergency medical assistance, if necessary, there. There will be a van there, an ambulance
Because
there.
with heat.
Absolutely, with the
And it would
heat.
be me, I
and
would
with
be
the
pissing
hospital. The
out.
hospital is actually right across the street.
Okay.
From Marquette Park. There's a lagoon there, so it's going to be fantastic. And I would encourage all of the viewers to come out to the 32nd District State Fair on August the 28th from 11 to 3 o'clock.
At Marquette Park.
At Marquette Park.
We have another caller. Your question or comment, please?
Hi, thank you, Ms. Posner. I'm not from the 32nd District, but I am very intrigued with State Rep Thapedi's background. I noticed he mentioned that his mother was a partner in his law firm, and I was just wondering if he's a native of Chicago and what his political future might hold for him, because he certainly seems beyond qualified, even as state rep. I see he may have a very good political future here. So I was
We
just
have two
curious.
presidents from the state of Illinois right in a row.
Well, thank you very much, caller, for your kind words. I want to focus in right now on being the best state representative that I can be. This is a very challenging job. These are very challenging times in Springfield. And again, I'm learning. I think I'm well trained. My mother did a great job with me. And I'm well trained. However, there's a lot more that I have to learn. And I want to focus in on being the best state representative that I can. So thank you again for the call and the comments.
So we're all going to have to... Well, we don't have to move to 32nd District if you end up running for Senate or President, because we could vote for you. We have another caller. Your question or comment, please?
Hi, I know that Governor Quinn recently signed in a bill a hotline bill to help the youth who are witnessing violence. Do you have more information about that?
If you'll call my office, I'll be able to pull up that legislation for you, and I think that we've shown the number there. You can either give me a call or email me, and you see the number there on your screen, 773-873-4444, or you can email me at rep32district@gmail.com. The only reason why I say that is that I want to look at that piece of legislation very carefully so that I can give you accurate answers. That's one thing that I've learned in Springfield. You don't want to comment on something without knowing the full story. So again, thank you for the call. That's definitely a very important piece of legislation. If you'll reach out to me, I promise to get back in touch with you and answer all of your questions. But thank you for the call.
For those who are watching and wonder, this is legislation where people can either text in tips and not have to worry at all that it's going to come back on them. Because part of the problem that there is the afraid of being called a snitch. And people have to realize a snitch is good if you're telling who pulled the trigger or what a gang is going to do.
And it is, Kathy, and also it's the reality of living in the inner city as well, especially in the 32nd District, which encompasses some areas that are extremely challenged. And I certainly understand the dynamics of what's going on, as we say, in the streets, and that's why I think that piece of legislation is so important, and I want to make sure that I've reviewed it very, very carefully so that I can answer the caller's question.
When we have crime, crime comes many times from desperation of needing money, which then ties back to foreclosures. And I know there's a foreclosure problem in the whole state and in your district. Are there any advice or special services that you could talk about with foreclosures? Doesn't the state have, information that they can?
The state does have information, but now Cook County has incorporated a mediation program. With the rash number of foreclosures that are occurring, and I know this, Kathy, as a practicing attorney, that I've represented many people that are experiencing foreclosure actions. So I've actually been in the courtrooms defending these families, and I've studied the nuances and different judges ruling in different ways. But the most important thing to recognize is that Springfield has been responsive to the foreclosure crisis by putting safeguards in play to ensure that when you receive that initial notice, that they're not going to just kick you out of your house right away, that there are alternate means to address that issue. The Cook County Mediation Program, while it's not fully tested, I think that it's something that's going to be very, very helpful because, and I've been having this challenge in Springfield quite a bit, that sometimes the bankers and I don't see quite eye to eye. And I understand that banking is a business. I certainly understand that. I certainly understand that giving loans is a business, but I have to be concerned about the lives of the people in my district.
Plus, a vacant home leads to crime when people
absolutely
break in and see it. So I don't understand why a bank would rather have it be empty. The Cook County program that you're speaking about, by the way, at the courts now, there is a help desk for this mediation. It happens to now be run by the Chicago Legal Clinic, which just received a grant from Cook County government to staff this desk. There is no charge at all to people who come up and ask questions at the help desk.
And that's very important. In fact, the first bill that I authored and that I, as we say, ran in Springfield was a foreclosure bill because of all of the problems and a real life experience in which a family lost their home. They were not given notice of the foreclosure sale, and at the time the law read that before a family could argue that they were not given notice of the sale, that they had to first put up a bond or a guarantee equal to the amount of the successful bid. That's ridiculous. If someone is being foreclosed upon, how are they possibly going to be able to get enough money to get a bond?
Right.
I addressed that. The General Assembly recognized it. It's now law that that's no longer required. So that's just an example of some of the things that I've been doing in trying to address the foreclosure challenges that we're having.
When Quinn signed the bill the other day that was keeping the property tax cap, 7% property tax cap on, there was a problem because they made the window shorter, down to 4 months of when you could lose your home through not paying property taxes. I know Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas was very upset about that, and there were any number of legislators who said, yeah, that's wrong, we've got to get that out of the bill. So Do you know if you're going back and trying to get rid of that, or how that's going to be handled?
I'm not exactly certain what
Yeah.
the agenda is for the veto session. I did
Right.
find out today that with the new bill that was signed, or at least that's in play in Washington, that there is a possibility that we will be coming back very shortly to try to release those funds for the schools.
Okay.
I
Right.
don't know when exactly.
If we get the that
Exactly,
part of that $400
exactly.
trillion dollars, we need that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. I believe that Speaker Madigan's staff is reviewing it. I believe that Senate President Cullerton's staff is reviewing it. Also, the governor's office is reviewing it to see if it's absolutely necessary for us to return to Springfield to actually pass some legislation to appropriate those monies.
Otherwise, the veto session is until November?
It's in November, correct.
Right, it's in November. Is there any legislation that you'd like to talk about that you've got percolating there, or that you're working on?
Well, I've been pretty fortunate so far that everything that I have authored has gone through and it has passed. So at this point, I am more so focusing in on the budget. $13 billion is our debt.
I don't know where we're going to get it from.
$13 billion is our debt. It's a simple mathematical equation.
Right, yeah.
If we're $13 billion in the red, we have to identify a verifiable revenue stream. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. And you hear the different arguments. Some people say that we need to raise taxes. And I understand the argument, pros and cons for raising taxes. But again, you have to look at the mathematical formula that we are $13 billion in debt. We know that we're going to have to make cuts. We know that. That's going to have to happen. However, especially in a community like mine in the 32nd District, I want to ensure that the cuts occur with a scalpel and not a hatchet.
Right. Here's my one idea that you'll think is stupid, and it'll never happen.
No idea, stupid.
Okay,
Kathy.
ready? I go to Indiana now to a casino because I can smoke there. Where I used to do my gaming here, I go to Indiana. And so do all of my friends who happen to smoke. And I know that the revenue from gaming taxes is way down in Illinois just because of that. So I say put smoking back in casinos in Illinois, and you'll $200 million.
Well, you know,
Just for me alone.
Now, I hear you, and I must tell you that I don't think that any idea at this point is silly. I think that, and I want to encourage all of your viewers, Kathy, to please come out and give us ideas on what we can do to try to resolve the economic problems that we're having here in the state of Illinois.
I'm going to remind everybody. Then you can send State Representative Thapedi, and I keep saying your name wrong. Say it again.
It's Thapedi. It rhymes with Betty.
Oh, okay. Now I'll get it right. Thapedi at Rep 32 District at gmail.com. Thank you so much for appearing today. Did this 25 minutes go by in like a minute and a half?
It went back too fast.
It went
by
way
too fast.
It does. That's because I
enjoyed it
absolutely
tremendously.
Wonderful, and it's because I had a wonderful guest today. So thank you so much for appearing on Political Forum, and thank you, the viewer, for your calls. The producer of Political Forum is Tiffany Bosley. Our telephone technician tonight was Steve Nikotopoulos, and our production assistant is Sylvia Snowden. I'm Kathy Posner, and Political Forum is brought to you as a community service by the Board of Directors of CAN TV. Please join us next week for Political Forum.
Bye,
Good
Mom.
evening. Okay. Oh, yeah. We have
Bye,
1
Mom.
second. Bye, Mom.